I hope everyone had a great first day at Pygmalion. Welcome to the worst show ever. My name is Nabil Ayers. I'll be your host for the next 30 or so minutes. The show, as you might have guessed, is a forum for artists, musicians, and in this case, one actor, to tell a story about the worst performance they've ever experienced. I played drums in rock bands in the 90s and the 2000s, and I have lots of stories like the one about playing to an empty venue in Arlington, Texas at 6:30 p.m. and later finding out that the doors opened at 7, and about the man who drank himself unconscious during my band's Valentine's show in Newport, Wales. But the show isn't about me, it's about my guests who have their own stories. John Heder is a producer and actor best known for his role as the title character in the 2004 film Napoleon, Dynamite. John hosted the 2005 episode of Saturday Night Live, on which the singer Ashley Simpson attempted to redeem herself after her worst show ever when she was caught lip syncing. John joins us from Washington State. Hi, John.
Hello. Yeah, she was caught lip syncing. I'm sure that's never happened with anybody else. Yeah, it was kind of a bummer that I was on the episode where she had to redeem herself. It wasn't juicy. Nobody was looking it up. Everybody got to see the other one.
She was just good on yours.
Yeah. So I think we got to wait till this is over for me to tell the story of the worst show ever, right?
Yeah, I'll roll through the intros real quick and then we'll come back to you in a moment. Brittney Denise Parks is a self-taught violinist and vocalist who performs as Sudan Archives. Last year, she released her debut album, Athena, which is one of my favorite albums of 2019, and one that the New York Times called a soundtrack of the making of a goddess. Brittney joins us from Los Angeles in a super dope robe. And Michelle Zauner is the driving force behind Japanese Breakfast, which The Quietist described as unabashedly authentic, but creating music that we can still all see a little bit of ourselves in. Michelle joins us from Brooklyn. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Thank you guys all for being here. The format is super informal and simple. Each of you will tell a story about the worst show you've ever taken part in. You can all feel free to jump in, interject, have fun, keep it conversational. And let's start with John. Tell us about your worst show ever.
Well, I don't know if I was trying to think. I've never put on a bad show. That was really hard. No, I guess I was trying to think because, being more of an actor and so what's the worst performance that, not getting to do a lot of live performances, yet they have happened. But I think what kind of falls in that category is, so a number of years ago, 2000, I think it was 2008, Teen Choice Awards, Miley Cyrus was the host for that year. And this was kind of when she was at the pinnacle of, I think, of her popularity. Although some people are like, no, she's still popular. What are you talking about? She's at the top, but I don't know.
Her teen popularity.
What?
Her teen popularity,
right?
Her teen
popularity, which really skyrockets you host a show like that. So I guess her and her best friend or her really good friend had some kind of YouTube thing going on where they were challenging other dance troupes because they were really big into dancing. They choreograph and do these dance offs, and then they would challenge another famous troupe or their other friends. And started out small, but then it got bigger and bigger, and all their followers were just obsessed with it. So at the time when she hosted this show, it was just at the height of not just her popularity, but when she was doing these dance offs. Mm-hmm. So she wanted to do this I don't know if it was the end of the show, but she wanted to do this big musical number where she was bringing it to the stage. And this is her big dance. And so she wanted to involve a couple people. I'm assuming because of, some of my dancing that I've done in the past, she thought, hey, why not get him involved? So we got there, probably a week before the show, or it's the week of, to do a little rehearsal to see what this is all about. And, at the time my publicist was like, hey, you should do this. It's Miley Cyrus. This is she's the biggest name right now. I was like, all right, well, let's see what they have in mind. So we go, and I'm trying to get an idea of what they want to do and what kind of bit, everything is okay, how do I pop? what can I do in this? Is it just dancing? Are you asking me to do the Napoleon dance? I'd rather do something else, something fun. And after talking and deliberating a little bit, I realized that they were like, I was going to be in it for 2 8 counts. And in dancing, it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, and just 2 of that. And that's it. I was like, oh, so this is like, okay, all right, well, maybe we can still make something of this. So they started doing this choreography, and I was like, okay, this is really got to pop then, because it's like, I'm in there for 1 second. It's like I pop and then it's out. I was like, okay, but if we can really set this up, then it's fine. It's worth it, because they are doing this whole dance number and then they want to do this cool introduction. I was like, well, what if it's like the camera comes on and the music builds up and you see me, but you don't know who it is. This mysterious figure comes around and his back is to the audience and he's doing this fake graffiti on the wall. And then right as the music crescendos, he turns around. I have this hat on and I'm hidden, and then I whip the hat to the side and I reveal it's me. And then I do this little kind of I do this 2 8 count dance. And I go out and I dance with them a little bit because they have all their other dancers, but then it's just this kind of solo dance for 2 8 counts. And then it's over. I was like, all right, I think we can make this kind of work. So we choreographed this thing, and then the day comes and I show up, do the red carpet. We're in the back. Actually, no, I didn't do the red carpet. Sorry, because it was all supposed to be kind of like a secret and a reveal. So right. Just, we go around back and we're hanging out with the troupe and we get in this nice big prayer circle where they're like, come on in, jump, come on. And I was like, whoa, we didn't do this in rehearsal. Okay, that's fine. I'm into spirituality. And so, we do this whole thing and we're getting ready, and then they go out. And so it's just waiting for my cue. The whole show, I'm there for 2 seconds. And so I'm just waiting. And finally they, the stagehands are pulling me out, and I'm in this really kind of weird outfit where it's like this little like flat cap or whatever those golfers wear. I don't know what those are called. It's like the flat top cap. And it's like this whole, I swear I look like a Lakers fan, because it was like yellow and purple color ensemble. I didn't quite understand that, but at least it had the hat was the important part. So we get out there, I hit my mark, I'm waiting. And the moment comes and I'm my back is to the audience. I do my little fake graffiti. I turn around, and it happens and it goes. I reveal myself. I do my dance. I'm hitting my spots, and I get out there, and then it's over in just moments, and then it's done. And so I leave, go backstage, and I'm like, okay. And there's all this. I was like, okay. I'm not quite sure if they saw. I couldn't tell if the audience even knew or if they reacted. It was hard because they're just screaming the whole time. So I'm sure it was okay. But I didn't have anybody, like my publicist wasn't there. It was very kind of not much of a moment. So I was like, so I'm done, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I just kind of walked out of the building and hopped in my car in the valet and just drove home. I was like, okay. So
anticlimactic.
So I had my wife, TiVo, I guess at the time we TiVo'd, right? She TiVo'd the show because I was very curious to see. So I got home. I was like, all right, honey, let's sit and watch this. So we're watching, and it's going through the whole thing, and I fast forward, and it gets to the moment, and you see this mysterious figure come out, and he's got his back to the camera and everything. Right as I turn around and my cap is down, right as I take my cap off, the camera cuts to like a super wide shot of the entire show. You don't see me at all. You don't get the gag is completely lost. I know I'm too far for the audience to see. And plus the audience is looking at the screens as well. Nobody knows it's me. And it's completely lost in the mix. And as soon as my bit is over, LL Cool J is like, the music really ramps up and suddenly it's his show and he comes out and it's almost like, I was never told. I was like, oh, I thought this was the end of the dance, the end of the show. I thought it was going to be like the button, the final button on the show, but no. I was just a precursor to LL. And he comes out and he starts putting on a show and he's rapping and he's out there for way more than 2 8 counts. It's stupid. And he puts on this whole show. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was with LL Cool J. That's pretty rad. I mean, I just remember, thinking like, wow, that's the first time I've really seen some serious deodorant cakes just hanging out. So for a moment, I was really, really bummed and kind of let down. Like, wow, that all like amounted to nothing. And then immediately I felt like, what a relief. Nobody knows I did it. Nobody knows. It was never publicized. Nobody ever talked about it. And I mean, I even mentioned it like just in ready for this show. I mentioned it to my wife. I was like, remember when that thing happened? She's like, no idea. I was like, you don't remember? I was like, it was a huge deal. Like I showed her the video and I was like, I have no recollection. I was like, good. Okay. I forgot about it. It was wiped from people's memories. So, and again, it was like, it wasn't even wiped. They never even knew it. They never had that memory. But I remember telling some friends of mine who were like the millennial generation who grew up with Miley, and it blew their minds. It blew their minds. They're like, I remember those dance battles. I remember everything about that. Like, holy cow.
And you have no proof that you were there.
Well, I mean, I think if you find it on video,
right.
You can watch it.
What year was this?
You what?
What year was this?
I think it was 2008.
Whoa.
2008 or 2009. I'm pretty sure it was 2008.
Sad to imagine you like taking a backdoor out of the Teen Choice Awards.
That's the dark part, right?
Just kind of
leaving.
Like not even watching the rest of it.
Those are the moments I actually really dig. I like being and having a breather because, you know, normally if you do a red carpet or if you do an event, you're like everything, the cameras or everybody's like crowded around you or something. And you just don't get a moment to really kind of observe the situation. And that's
I totally know what that's like.
Kind of like, oh man, this is so greasy. I don't know, what am I doing here? Like, all right. Yeah, I don't know.
That's great.
It's my worst show ever that nobody ever knew existed.
That's a perfect way for it to be. But now everyone will know.
Yeah, that's what you want. You don't want anybody to know it. Unfortunately, I'm sure there's people out there like, oh, I want it to be erased. I don't want anybody to remember that.
Exactly.
That's great, John. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like a terrible show, which is great.
I can't wait to look it up online again. It was find it and I don't even remember. I will never remember my moves because it cuts so wide that like you can't even see. I look like a little bug dancing. And it's like, oh, well. I was like, honey, I swear I did some pretty cool moves. Like I whipped out some new stuff. That's all I wanted to do. Everybody was so used to me doing these stupid Napoleon moves. I was like, I want to do some new moves. Nobody will ever see.
Ah. Well, thank you for sharing that story, John.
Yeah, no problem.
Brittney, let's hear about your worst show ever.
Okay, so I was on tour, and I think this was one of my first tours, and I just kind of was opening for people, and I remember touching base in Cincinnati, and that's where I'm from, and I think I was like getting like a documentary shot or something, and I did because it was like some off days there, so we were doing all that, and I was like, I'm gonna go to my favorite violin shop in Cincinnati because I'm never here, and I want to like visit the owner, and that's like how I started violin. So I go there, and I'm touring with like this electric violin. This guy, I'm touring with this guy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna get my strings I'm gonna get new strings because they were like, oh, your violin strings are looking pretty dirty. You want me to like, some new ones on there? And I was like, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Oh.
So,
What could
so they,
possibly go wrong?
so they put new strings on there, and I'm like, yeah, cool, so clean. I'm gonna sound so pretty. So then so there's like this next show is I don't remember what city it was, but it was like a short plane ride away. And my cousin was gonna take me to the airport, and I was supposed to go there and open up for this band Croomden. And yeah, I missed the flight first of all, and that kind of sucked. But my cousin is so hardcore. She was like, "This is only like 3 hours away. I'll drive you there." And I was like, "Oh my god, thank you," because I was gonna take like a lift there. But she's like, "No, I'll just take you." So we go there, and I don't know. This city is just kind of weird. It's just like this weird little small town, and the vibes are just like I just don't know how to describe it. But I think before the show, like we ended up getting pulled over, and I remember like this must have been like I think this was like right before the show or something. But yeah, we got pulled over and they were like, "Are you girls from here? Where are you from? Your license plate says this and blah blah blah." And we're like, "Yeah, we didn't know that we don't really know where we're going and we're using GPS, so we're probably making like the wrong turns and stuff." And they were like, "Yeah, you made like a wrong turn." And I think my cousin's license was expired or something. But this was like right before the show, so I was just like, can you just like let us go? Because I gotta do this, blah, blah. He was like, "I'm gonna give you guys a warning." So anyway, we're going to sound check, and I'm starting to sound check, and like my violin isn't working, and that's like really scary because that's like the only thing I do, just like play violin. And I'm just like playing some beats that I made and sometimes I'm even looping the violin in between the songs, and then people are like, "Oh," they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I'm like, "Yeah, boom, next beat." And then I'm like singing and stuff too. And it's like a whole like experience. So I'm just freaking out because there's like no sound coming out of this. And that's exactly why I like touring with electric violins because it's supposed to be like no matter what, you have no sound issues. But this violin is a MIDI violin. And it's just like this weird violin. And it takes like a 9-volt battery. Like why would you want a instrument that takes a battery? Like, so I didn't know if it was the battery or if it was just like, I don't know what the heck was going on. So the guy was like, "Oh, sometimes when you're touring, the volume sensitivity of your violin, you need to like put a needle in there and you need to turn each knob so it could turn up again because it might not be getting picked up." And I was like, "Really? I've never had to do that before," but it did say sensitivity on here. So I was like, "Okay, let's give it a try." So he like gets this weird little glass cleaner tool and he turns it all up, and it kind of like worked. Like I heard a little bit of notes and stuff, and for some reason that just gave me enough confidence. Like, "Oh, I'll be fine." He's like, "Yeah, I'll just crank it up. I'll crank it up." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So then, you know, at the show, it just stops working. Like it's just not working at all. And like everyone's so excited. Like it was just a bunch of like drunk old ladies there at this like little bar. Everybody's like excited. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't know what was going on and they just thought it was magic or something. But there was like no violin tracks in the beats that I was playing. But maybe because I had the beats booming and I was like, "Yeah, la la nay, nah nah nah," and I was just singing and all that stuff. And they were like, "Oh, this is so good. She's so good. She's got a violin in her hand." Because I literally just had the violin in my hand, like, da 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 da. It was like really embarrassing for me because like I just wanted to just like, you know, do what I usually do and just like play some crazy solo and violin. But that was not happening. And I remember after the show, like the headliners were like, "That was groovy. That's cool." And I was just like, does no one know what happened? And I was like so nervous. So I figured out what happened though. Like basically this violin is a MIDI violin and it only takes one brand of string. which is not normal. You should just be able to like hit your violin strings with any kind of brand, and it's okay. But these strings, they're called like Dogel electro sound strings, and for some reason they got something in them that helps it be like a MIDI violin. I don't know. So that's why it wasn't working, because I just changed my strings. I should have never changed my strings because I didn't have like a extra set of electro Dogel sound strings, and that's why my violin wasn't working. And I don't know, that was just so embarrassing for me. And I remember after the show, I was like going home, and I remember having like some clothes in my hand, and it was like trying to get all my things together because I was so mad. I was like, let's just go. Oh yeah, and the owner, he was a dick. He was a dick. I don't know. He was just like, this always happens to me. So whenever I'm opening up for people, or sometimes when I'm like, it's my own show, like people be having attitudes, and you come in there and they're like, another like, who are you? Another what's his face person just about to play in our venue. Yeah, just do it, and I want to go home. I have like shit to do. So we get in there and they're being so rude to us, and we're like, hey, I'm Sudan, guys. I didn't even have my manager or anybody with me because it was just like, boom, boom, just hit these shows up. Just, you can do this on your own. And I'm just with my cousin, and I'm like, hey, can we get our rider? Can we get like, can I get like the wine, blah, blah, blah. And they were like being super mean. And he was just like, he had some weird energy. Like he was just like, had too much coffee. And he was just being like really weird. And then after I sound check and perform, they're like, oh, do you need anything? Blah, blah, blah. Does that ever happen to you? Japanese.
No, I feel like people are more rude to me like after the show. They like just like don't even give a shit. They're pretty committed to being rude, so they just continue to be rude to me.
Really?
But my favorite thing
they were like
when you like open for a place and then you come back as a headliner and you're like, yeah, I'm back.
Oh yeah. That's your worst nightmare. But basically, yeah, like they were kind of like being nicer or something. Maybe because they're like, oh, she's pretty good. I don't know. Like, you need anything? You want beer? You want beer?
I mean, you fooled the audience, and so yeah, when you fooled the audience,
right?
They maybe just saw that their audience was happy, even though you thought you had a terrible show.
I was like, I don't want no girl with my goddamn check. Yeah, I like took my. So I took my little check, and I was like, come on, Taylor, let's bounce. So we bounce, and I have all my clothes with me, and like I start dropping my clothes on accident, and it's just weird. There's like some people outside from the venue that were in the show, and they like stole my clothes, and I didn't know what to do.
Well, look at your clothes. They're very stealable. I want to steal that robe.
They're like really cool clothes.
Yeah.
Everyone was just like, get him.
Okay, she's gone.
That's never happened to me before. I was like, why are you stealing clothes? I'm right here. And I didn't feel like running. I was already like, I was just in so much stress. I was like, let's just go.
So you missed a flight, drove to the show, got pulled over, played what you thought was a terrible show where your instrument didn't work, and then got your clothes stolen. It's like a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
Oh. It sounds pretty rough.
Okay, I have a few questions. What you said you were going to this? This was an extra show on top of a festival you were going to?
I think I went to Cincinnati to just shoot a documentary, maybe even do a college show there. But I was supposed to fly to like some area. I don't know if it was like Winnipeg or something, but it's like close to Cincinnati where you can just drive. It's 4 hours away. And I'm opening for this band. So, yeah.
Okay. That's nuts.
It sounds like a rough night.
Yeah, it was rough.
Did you were those clothes like some people clothes are a dime a dozen, but I know a lot of times artists and, we all just have our favorite clothes. Me, I'll wear the same thing for 10 years. Were you just heartbroken, or was it all just like, oh no, that was just
no? Like, to be honest, To be honest, they weren't even like clothes you performing or anything. It was just like some
Sweats.
shorts, some socks. Yeah. I was so confused.
Well, I'm glad you weren't wearing that yukata.
Yeah, I'm glad you still have that. Amazing. Thank you, Brittney. Thanks for sharing. Michelle, let's hear about your worst show ever.
Yeah, I have so many. I feel like the struggle of an indie musician, like you wear your bad shows like it's a laurel. But I have one particularly bad show when I was first starting out. I had a band, like an all-girl band in college with one dude who played the bass. And we went to Bryn Mawr College, which is an all-women's college right outside of Philadelphia. And it was a really big deal for us to book a show in the big city in Philadelphia. And we were like, you know, we had done the like college circuit and like played all of the like cafeterias that we could play. And we finally booked a big show in the big city, which was like at a bar called the Khyber in Old City, which is like sort of southish Philadelphia. And, you know, at the time it was just like any show in the city, it was like, we were going to make it big. Like this was our, like all of the A&Rs were going to be there or something, even though like, why would they be? And like, yeah, so we drove up in our, I forget what kind of minivan we had, but we drove up in our little minivan and we like unloaded our little amps and stuff like that. And the sound guy was like such an asshole and was just like one of those sound guys that like fucking hates his job and does not want to be there and definitely is like not stoked that like a bunch of college kids are like about to have their first like show in the city and like just like, not feel any kind of compassion towards us whatsoever. So we set up and then of course like something isn't grounded and so I get electrocuted many times. And my favorite thing with the sound guy is always just like, okay, just like, yeah, like, let me just try this. And they like, don't really do anything. And they're like, just try it again. And then you're like, okay, it's like, I'm still getting shocked. And they're like, oh yeah, I just like, I don't know what that could be. Like, maybe just try it again. And then it's like 10 times of getting like electrocuted so badly that you're like shaking, like you can't like play your instrument and you see like this white light. And you're just like, can you just try? Like, I don't know what you're doing, but it seems like you're not really doing anything at all. So I think eventually we like maybe put like some kind of sock like over the microphone. So like while I was touching the guitar and had my mouth to the microphone, I wouldn't get shocked while we were playing. And of course, like no one came to the show. There was like no one there at all. And we played our dumb little songs and the sound guy like proceeded to get so drunk. The same sound guy that like electrocuted me so many times got really wasted that he just started throwing fruit at us like from the soundboard and then just left. So, like any changes he might have needed. He was just like, well, there's no one there anyway. So
what
like
kind of fruit was it?
What
kind of fruit was it?
I don't even remember. I just remember like, oh, the sound guy is throwing fruit at me now. Like, this is a crazy experience. And then we finished the show. There was maybe like 3 people there. It was a really sad scene. Our bass player went to go get the car and our car had gotten towed. So then he had to go and take a cab. So that was like, we probably got paid like maybe $20 to play the show, and then we had to pay like $300 to get our car towed like out of the tow lot, and then like a $20 cab ride. And then like while Kevin, our bass player, was driving back, the street got like closed down because there was like an epic Old City Philly bar brawl that happened outside. So then they like locked us into the bar because it was like too dangerous to go outside because there was like a big bar brawl. So we had to just like stick around in this like club, in this bar that none of us wanted to like be in any longer because we had just like played a set to no one. And then the police like created a barricade to like push through the road to clear the road of the bar brawl. And while they were doing that, some drunk driver was like really pissed and blew through the police like barricade, and then there was an accident that happened on the lot. So it just took a really long time to get out of just this worst show ever, where I like had been electrocuted and had fruit thrown at me. And then we were like $500 in debt at the end of it. No one was there.
Supposed to make money.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, I feel like to be you know, a musician from this background, it's like all just like karmic buildup to like finally make it. So I feel like those kinds of shows are just like, I fully deserve like whatever success I've come upon, because like I have definitely paid my fucking dues. You know what I mean?
That's the upside. I wonder if the sound guy started the fight. Do you think that's possible? The drunk sound guy?
Sound dudes, like, I mean, I know a great many like wonderful sound people or people in sounds. Yeah. But they're also they can be the worst fucking people in the world. I feel like I cannot count the amount of times that like some aggro dude has been like, you just push the button on the DI. And you're like, I fucking know how to engage a DI.
I hate like, guys. Like,
I miss that, you know? Like, it's been so long that like I take one of those guys again to like just feel.
Yeah. I've never met a mean sound guy who's actually good. Who's
actually really good. It's all like over.
Yeah, I wish it was like a mean sound guy that was actually good. I'd be like, oh yeah, you're good, you dick.
You aspire.
No, they're always.
Yeah, I am a dumb piece.
Yeah. When they're good, they're just nice. Like.
Yeah, totally.
They're satisfied.
Like, it's amazing if you can distinguish like 1 and 1.5K like just through your ears, but like who, like
exactly.
You know, like just like are really old and can't even hear high frequencies anymore.
Or they've been doing that job so long that their eardrums are just
exactly shot. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Turn it up. It's all the way up. No, turn it up, man. Yeah. Turn it up.
Yeah. It's totally different. I feel like in Europe, I feel like, I don't know. Do you think it's like different, the sound guy? If, like when you don't have your own sound guy, I feel like they're a little more.
In Europe, they're nicer.
I think so.
I feel like I mean, there's a lot more like funding for venues, right? And people probably get treated better and paid better and get nice meals and all that.
What's up?
I think they actually get paid better or something. Like there's some weird thing with the arts in Europe where it's like quality.
In the US, people getting paid poorly in the arts, that sounds crazy.
Right. You get a nice meal before a show.
Yeah, they do have like, a great game on lock in Europe. I will give them that for sure.
It sounds like you guys keep getting screwed. It's like you're in the whole 500. You're getting your clothes stolen. Like, this is not.
Let me tell you, it's very different in the music world than it is in Hollywood.
Yeah, nobody's
garbage.
Yeah, that's why it took me like 3 weeks to come up with a worst show story for me. They've all been.
It's just too good.
I don't think anyone can top the Teen Choice Awards, though, to be honest.
No, well,
did you ever do the Nickelodeon? Did you ever get slimed?
No. I'm gonna say that.
For getting slimed, like, why didn't that happen?
Yeah. Well, again, I was like, it was like a secret thing, and so they didn't. It was just in and out. It was like, so no slime, no nothing. The worst is if I had gotten slimed, then even more so people would have known it was me. And they couldn't. Then I'm like, at least I got to walk away from that performance dry, still had my dignity. Like, I don't think the people in the dance troupe knew who I was or cared. So, no sweat.
Were you like in the full garb?
I was dressed up like in the same kind of outfit that the rest of the crew was in. But my difference was I was able to whip the hat out and kind of reveal that it's like
to the camera person.
It was just such a display of I wouldn't say poor producing, because I think Miley's team, whoever was in charge of that, just did not talk to the stage manager about like, we're going to do a reveal here. It's just like, just shoot the dance however you're going to shoot it. Like, you're kind of missing the whole point. Like, there's a key, unless they knew, and the camera goes like, ooh, pull back.
Maybe they really hated your moves.
Yeah.
Maybe they saw your moves and they're like,
they just used you. Yeah, they just used you to have better dance moves. They used you for the better dance moves.
Oh,
they're
you're
like, this guy stands
ass. Watch it later. Okay. Miley used.
They don't want to pay for like the choreography, maybe.
Yeah, I think I gotta. Maybe if I went back now and watched some of her later music videos, I'll see some of my moves. Just
maybe they're stolen. Yeah.
Maybe that was their plan all along. Holy cow!
2 8 counts.
They need the 2 8 counts.
2 8 counts, you guys. Sounds like very little, but in dance, it's.
Could have been a lot. Yeah.
Carlton. The Carlton is not even an 8 count. That's just like 2 counts. That's Fresh Prince, you guys. Come on.
I'm familiar.
Brittney, this is a weird question. I was poking earlier. Did you do the Thing Festival last year in Port Townsend, Washington?
Yeah, you guys. Yeah.
Dude, we hung out.
Yeah, he came to my show.
Oh my God.
He came to my show. Like, I was like, Joe?
I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
I was trying to see, like, is there a way to show
I think
photos?
I still have a picture of this.
I have a picture, but I don't know how to show it on, isn't there a way to, like, put up a photo on?
You can share your screen.
There's a screen share. Yeah. Share screen button at the bottom.
Do you guys have a photo together?
We have like a
oh my God. I was so excited.
I didn't know this was a reunion.
I was like, I was just like,
we were on the same.
Okay, let's see if I can share my screen. Let's see without you seeing.
Oh, you have a photo on you?
Let's see, share screen. There we go. Right. How do you see it? Oh, just there we go. Can you see that?
Accept it?
Oh, it's coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was on the flight with that dude, and he was like, he was telling me about what he does. He's like, I'm gonna check you guys out, and then he brought everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
God.
That's hilarious. That's why I thought for a second you were starting to say, like, I went to go to this place out in the middle of nowhere, and I remember you talking about something, but obviously it was a different show because you sounded great. I didn't have any complaints about that show. But
that's probably another bad show.
And you said you opened for Krungbin, who had played in that same venue.
Yes.
I was so thrown off. I was like,
that summer was a crazy summer because everybody was just like, I was meeting the same people like every show. Like,
here's another. I'm trying to.
It was like a weird, like, acid trip repetition thing happening. Like, everybody was on the same show.
Here, I'm going to show you the best. Talk about worst show ever. This is worst photo ever.
Oh my God, that photo's amazing.
The difference you is like pretty special.
I didn't even know you were gonna be on this call.
Wait, what?
I didn't even know. Like, I
didn't know either. I don't think I ever got your real name or something. I was just so thrown off. So
I think this one's worse. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah, just hold it up.
Yeah, those are great. Yes. I'm so glad we got to the bottom of that. Yes.
You look so cool in the first one.
Hey, we all look cool.
I was like, oh, you look so cool. And then the next two came up and I was like, whoa.
That's awesome.
Going through the photos.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Here we go.
Yeah, that was so fucking fun. Like, I was just like, yeah.
It was in Port Townsend. Is that what you said? Port Townsend.
Yeah, Port Townsend. Here's the last one. Here we go.
Place anything.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a rad festival. I had a great time. I'm sorry?
You guys like hung out.
Yeah.
It looks like you were hanging out. Like,
yeah, Brittney, you might even have done a costume change before this shot.
Yeah, there's a costume change.
You know how I do with the clothes. You know how I do,
You
y'all.
got this stage, you got that stage.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh, wait,
Wow.
how do I move?
Are we stuck?
There we go. All right.
Can you unshare? There we go. This has been amazing. I had no idea it was going to be a reunion, and I guess either did you
Me
guys.
either.
So
You like not
yeah.
know until like just now?
No, I didn't realize it.
He was talking and he was like, yeah, he just was talking about his show, and I was just like, oh, what the
Well,
fuck?
as soon as you started telling your story and you pulled out the violin, I was like, hold up, wait up, okay. And that's why I was like, I was literally sitting on the ground was the thing. I was like, I have the poster, and I was like, hey, yes, Sudan Archives right there. Holy cow, that is her.
Oh my God,
I had no
that's
idea. That's amazing.
That's great. This has been tons of fun. Thank you guys for joining, and I'm so glad I could be part of this reunion. I hope to see you all soon, somewhere on stage, maybe on screen. Thank you to our invisible audience somewhere out there. Thanks to Pygmalion, and I hope you guys all have a great night.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Pygmalion.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
I
guys.
love Brittney and Michelle. I'm a big fan, by the way. I love
Oh,
you.
thank you. I'm a big
Michelle,
fan
you're
of
the
you.
shit.
Thank you. You are too.
You guys are awesome.
Once came across a blind dinosaur. We foresaw what went and came before us. Do you even think he saw us? But like Taurus, I'm relentlessly pacing, chasing a deeper view. Socially conditioned, positioned without a right to choose. Right to choose. If I had a right, I'd choose left. No quest. I've been ready